You need to stop doing this thing before your games. Cold stop. Dan Hunt here, performance coach, worked with countless teams and individuals, both at the high school and college level, to win by being the best when it matters the most. And the thing is that there's things that you are doing that I see athletes do all the time that completely sabotage their ability to actually perform. And the first thing that we have to understand, that before games, as we're getting ready to perform, your body is going through a shift and trying to activate and saying, hey, let's get ready, let's do this thing. And there's things that people do and athletes do that actually sabotage that actually reverse, maybe not reverse that, but it diminishes that, right? And the thing that they try to do is they try to avoid and distract and remove and go the opposite direction of what's happening, right? Or they try to amplify it so much that they end up sabotaging themselves. And the first thing that I'm gonna do, and we're gonna talk about this in other videos, but you have to embrace the fact, the reality, right? This is not just me saying a reframe, okay? This is the reality that nerves, right? Nerves and excitement and all that stuff that's boiling up, right? That's all that is your body saying, hey, let's activate. Let's get ready to go. And the thing is nerves and excitement are similar reactions and responses within your body. And so you have to embrace that as you're getting ready to perform, that those nerves, those things are not bad. Don't run from them. It's actually about how do you show up within that, and how do you even channel them and use them and leverage them, which is an idea we talk about all the time, for your performance and your benefit. And what I see athletes do to avoid that or diminish that, right? Or actually run the opposite direction is they get and they do things to distract them. Like scrolling on social media. I don't know how many times I've showed up to games and I've walked into locker rooms and kids are sneaking in and getting on their phone and scrolling and doing these things. You gotta stop that. All you're doing is distracting yourself. You're trying to run away from these nerves, and if you don't meet them head on, right where you are, you're never going to figure out how to manage them. You're never going to figure out how to use them. You will always run away from them. A great story that I have is my youngest wanted to wrestle, and so his mom and I entered him into a wrestling tournament, and he was 7 years old at the time. And he goes out there, and he was all about it. He practiced, right? And he had been practicing for a while, and he goes out there, and all of a sudden he gets that feeling in his stomach. You know what I'm talking about when you've competed, that pit in your stomach. And he gets that. And after one round, he ends up running, he runs off the mat, right? And as a dad, I'm excited, right? Did I want him to run off the mat? Sure, I didn't. No, absolutely not. But what I was excited about is that he felt that pit in his stomach. And now I had a teaching moment to help him leverage that and move through it. And over time, now when he goes and he competes in different sports, he's like, Dad, I get that feeling, but now I know what it is. Dad, I get that feeling, and now it means I'm ready to go, right? He's learned to not run away from it like he did on that mat, but to actually use it, to actually understand what it is and try to leverage it for his benefit. Here's the other thing I see this, and I see this a lot more in contact sports. People end up psyching themselves up, right? Teams, and they start psyching themselves out, and they go from having those nerves and adrenaline, a little bit of adrenaline, to crashing out on it. I know that's a term that people are using. They go from 8 to 15 as fast as they can, and they're screaming, they're yelling, they're hitting, they're doing all these things, and then they get into the game, and within 3 minutes, the adrenaline rush, you're on the backside of it, and it drops, and now all of a sudden they're tired, they're fatigued, their eyes, you can see it in their eyes, it takes so much energy, both physically and cognitively, when you have that adrenaline rush. And it's not that you can avoid it, but you definitely don't want to amplify it. I see this with people drinking tons of energy drinks, right? And they're trying to build up on caffeine. Can caffeine be good to focus you? Sure, but too much of it, again, piles on to building that adrenaline rush. And when it drops out, you are left tired and fatigued. And how are you supposed to compete and be at your best when you put yourself in a place of being tired and fatigued? And so you have to avoid that psych out. You gotta stop psyching yourself out, especially if that's not a state or a place that you go when you're practicing all the time. And then the final thing you have to stop doing is you have to stop going into these games and these competitions playing the circumstances, playing the opponent. Yes, there's an aspect of, hey, we got to step up in this moment. And there's an aspect of the opponents are going to do this, the opponents are going to do that, and we scouted for it. We got our keys and what we're going to do and different things. Be prepared, absolutely. But you gotta go into these games and play the game. Play the game. Play your game. Focus on what you can control. Focus on how you want to show up, all right? I see athletes all the time, if they're so focused on the circumstances of the game and who's there and this situation, a rivalry and all these things, that they end up playing the moment and not being in the moment. So these are things you have to stop doing. And if you've been following us on this journey, I'm a firm believer, you can't just say stop doing this thing and not replace it. So I want you to replace it with this. I want you to begin to build a routine, okay? I want you to begin to build behaviors around going into these games and focusing on who are you? How do you want to show up? What are the actions that you are going to take? What are the results you're seeking and how are you going to get there, right? Focusing on the team, getting us locked into the moment, okay? And settling us in, channeling those nerves for us to be able to leverage to be at our best. That's what I want you to begin to do. And we're going to keep shooting videos that are going to help you do that. But I need you more than anything to create the space now. You got to stop doing those things. You got to stop distracting through social media and scrolling and being on your phone. You got to avoid that psych up and try to psych yourselves out going into it so that you can not put yourself in a position. You're not in the position to get that adrenaline drop, all right? And then you got to stop playing circumstances. Start being in the moment, right? Focusing on who you are, what you're trying to do, what the team is trying to do, and being fully present in the moment so you can leverage those nerves for your greatest performance. All right, like, subscribe, and share. We're gonna continue to pump this stuff out and pass this along. If this was beneficial to you as an individual athlete, I'm sure this is gonna be beneficial to your teammates. And if you and your teammates are all embracing these skills and strategies that we're giving, you guys are gonna put yourself in positions to be at the best, or be at your best when it matters the most, and to be the best when it matters the most. And when you do that, you put yourself in positions to win. Greatness is within.